Assalamu alaikum. I'm Huma Islami, O Levels Islamia teacher. Today, the topic that we are going to discuss is the Battle of Mu'tah. It was a Muslim Byzantine conflict, basically. I think it's the first Muslim Byzantine conflict. It occurred in 8 AH. It occurred in September 629 AD, 1 Jamadul Awal in 8 AH. Part of the Arab-Byzantine Wars took place in Mu'tah, the modern-day Jordan. Involved forces of Muhammad versus Byzantine Empire and the Ghassanid vassals, Arab Christians, in other words. What do I mean by vassals? A person or a country in a subordinate position to another state. So who was involved? The Ghassanid vassals and Hazrat Muhammad, his forces, and the Byzantine Empire. Background. It was in retaliation for killing of a Muslim emissary. Haris bin Umar was sent to Basra with the Prophet's letters. As you know, the Prophet in 7 AH, he sent letters to numerous places. And when Haris bin Umar was sent to Basra with the Prophet's letter, he was stopped at Mu'tah and was killed by Shurabil bin Amr. So who was stopped? Haris bin Umar. If you're going to write about the Battle of Mu'tah and you get a question on it, you should mention that the reason for the battle was the assassination, was the killing of Haris bin Umar. What's his name? Haris bin Umar. Who was he killed by? Shurabil bin Amr Ghassani. So he was from the Ghassanid vassal. He was not from the Byzantine, but because the Ghassanids were the supporters of the Byzantine, they were Caesar's governor to Asham. Shurabil was, who was he? He was from the Ghassanid vassal and he was Caesar's, Roman Caesar's governor to Asham. Killing of an ambassador always means war. At that time, even up till now, if you harm an ambassador, it has drastic effects. A Sariya battle without the Prophet. A Sariya was sent. What is a Sariya? A Sariya is a battle in which the Prophet did not take part in. Ghazwa is all of those battles in which the Prophet also participated, but a Sariya is a battle in which the Prophet did not take part. Muslim troops. There were 3,000 troops dispatched by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. 2 days journey to Mu'tah. It was a 2-day journey to Mu'tah. Imagine from Medina to present-day Jordan, and you're going by horse. Led by Zayd ibn Haritha, the Prophet's adopted son. Remember, he was the freed slave of Hazrat Khatija. Hazrat Khatija had gifted Hazrat Muhammad Zayd bin Haris at their wedding, and Zayd bin Haris, the Prophet adopted him as his son. And remember, the Prophet loved him a lot. Now, this appointment of commander, the Prophet did. In other words, he appointed the different commanders himself. He said that first the commander will be Zayd ibn Haritha, and then if he is martyred, then the second commander will be Jafar ibn Abi Talib. Who is Jafar ibn Abi Talib? He is the son of Abu Talib and the brother of Hazrat Ali, the cousin of Hazrat Muhammad and he is the same Jafar ibn Abi Talib who migrated to Abyssinia and stood in the court of Najashi and recited Surah Maryam. Remember, Jafar ibn Abi Talib returned from Abyssinia at the time of Khaybar. He went directly to Khaybar, and the Prophet Muhammad said that I'm not sure that what should make me more happy, the returning of Jafar or the victory over Khaybar. And so he just got back, and he is sent to war in Mu'tah. And if he is martyred, then the third in command will be Abdullah ibn Rawaha Ansari as the third in command. Each commander would hold a white flag. It is the first time that the Prophet ﷺ guided the change of command, because maybe he was told by revelation that all three will be martyred. So that maybe that is the reason that he guided the change of command. The Byzantine forces, including the local Arab tribes, the Ghassanid vassals, were together 10,000 in troops. So it's always the 1 to 3rd, in ratio. A fierce battle took place. All three Muslim leaders fell in battle. What do I mean by when I say fell in battle? They were martyred in battle. The Prophet ﷺ was telling the Muslims in Medina about their martyrdom and was crying. It is said that the Prophet ﷺ, when Zayd bin Harisa, when he was martyred, the Prophet said, I can see that that Zayd has just been martyred. Then when Jafar was being martyred, because he was his cousin, he started crying. But of course, Zayd was also as beloved as Jafar because he was his adopted son, and he was crying. And then finally, Abdullah bin Rawaha, he was also martyred, and the Prophet was crying whilst telling the people of Medina that now. Zayd ibn Arqam, Thabit ibn Arqam uh, temporarily took the banner of the command. Then Khalid bin Walid assumed of the final command and credited with saving the Muslim army from destruction. What did he do? He brought back the Muslim army. It is said he broke 9 swords that day and retreated in order to come back. And you know, he was maligned. Khalid bin Walid was maligned when they reached back to Medina. People said, "Oh my God, he has committed a sin, a kabira sin, that he has come back from the battlefield." And then Khalid bin Walid said that the only reason why I came back from the battlefield was to go back stronger. Because if we would have stayed there, then we would have all would have been just killed. And he was Saifullah. That was the day that he was called the sword of Allah, because he broke 9 swords on that day. And 12 Muslims more were martyred at that time. Okay, can you see in this corner I've got sand raise trick, retreat impression of pulling enemy in. Okay, what happened was when he retreated with the cavalry, he told his cavalry to go into the valley and start running, gallop, make your horses gallop there. And when the horses gallop, what happens? Sand raises and it looks like, people can tell that horses are galloping. Now, what effect did that do? It was the impression that the Muslim army, a reinforcement is coming for the Muslim army, because they went back and he ordered for the horses to carry on galloping. And then the Byzantine, they didn't want to go further into where they had retreated to, because they thought that Muslims are going to try and attack us once they've brought us closer to where they are. So the sand raise trick worked, and the Byzantine army retreated. Thank you. That's all.